Bonsoir et bienvenue à cette séance web diffusionnée du conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc du 13 septembre 2021. Welcome to our council meeting by webcam, internet of the 13th of September 2021. So here we are again, and before we start the meeting, as is our tradition, we will take a moment of silence to remember all those who we have lost through the pandemic or for other reasons, as well as wish good health to any of those who are ill and fighting for recovery. So I have with me today Councillor Stephen Erdely, Councillor Mike Cohen, Councillor Dina Burku, Councillor Sydney Ben-Isri, Councillor Mitch Kajowski, Councillor Oren Sabag, Councillor David Torgman. We have the City Manager, Jonathan Schechter, as well as all those others who you'll see their names on the screen, our staff. And I'd like to start off the meeting, first of all, by wishing everybody who celebrates the Jewish New Year, a Shana Tova, a very happy and healthy new year. We are now in the period of Rosh Hashanah before Yom Kippur, and I would like to first give a very quick update on the COVID-19 situation in our city, as we've been doing. The statistics that we have for the last 2 weeks. So for August 1st to 15th, we had 19 cases, 15th to the 29th, 36 cases, and over the last 2 weeks, August 29th to September 12th, 49 cases. So the trend is up in the similar way that it's up in the province, and we have to continue taking all precautions of washing our hands, physical distancing, and wearing masks. And of course, we encourage everybody who hasn't been vaccinated to go and get vaccinated. And we have our vaccine passport that applies to our recreational facilities, library, and such programming. And hopefully things will continue to get better. So before we proceed, at the top of the meeting, I would want to make special mention of a particular resident in Côte Saint-Luc who has made a very special contribution to our city and recently passed, Saul Singer. He was a pharmacist for many years, I think 70 years, and he also worked part of that time at Pharmaprix and Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center. And I know that on his retirement, there was a party for him, David Bannon, and I know Councillor Cohn was there, and former Mayor Anthony Housefather. It was just before I was elected, and I was looking through my videos recently, and I came across that moment, and we're going to show that video in a minute. But first, I want to give my sincere condolences to his wife Arlene, to their children, to Frima, to Susie Singer, to Michael, and to Anne, sister, the 3 children, and to their spouses, to Clifford and Pammy, Jackie, Shriver, and all your children and grandchildren. Our sincerest condolences. I know there's a lot of Saul in each and every one of his children and grandchildren, and we're blessed to have all that goodness. And we're all going to see this little video about how he provided what is true community service. A pharmacist is somebody who really can provide true community services. So I'm going to let Daryl show the video, and then we'll say a few more words.
We're honored to be here today to join Saul at his retirement party. I think it's an amazing example of community service. Someone who works in a community for literally over 70 years, doing a profession that not only do you love, but you've grown close to customers, you've become like a mentor to so many people.
I started in pharmacy when I was 13 years old, My father was a pharmacist, and after school, that is from 6 p.m. to midnight, I worked in the pharmacy. A lot of my friends were playing baseball and hockey, but I preferred working in the pharmacy and talking to people.
Mr. Singer is an example. He never missed a single shift during all this time. Came in on time or always before its time with a big smile and always a joke.
To count a pill is nothing, but to talk to the people and to explain to them what they should do or should not do, this is what I considered important. I would like to say to my customers what a pleasure it has been to serve them. I think each person has something interesting about their lives. Even though I'm retiring, it's not goodbye, it's au revoir, and I hope to meet you in Côte Saint-Luc, and I'll be pleased to say hello to each and every one of you. Bye-bye for now.
Well, once again, my condolences to Arlene and Clifford and Anne and Susie and the entire family. That's community service. You know, he was one of a kind. He always made me feel good. He made everyone he met felt good, and all his clients at the pharmacy and friends whenever we would meet him. And he will be dearly missed, and he'll be with us though through each one of you and the great memories that we all have of Saul Singer, a very special man who did so much for our community. So on that note, I would like to say that, you know, community service, that's what we as elected officials try to do. We do it in one way, a pharmacist does it another way, but it's the same objective. And when I was a very young man involved in the Young Liberals with Sheila Feinstone, I remember she told me one day that the highest level of service is community service. And if you do it in the political realm, you're giving yourself up in a way where you are going to get criticized. That's part of the game. But hopefully more people will appreciate what you do than those who criticize. So I want to take this moment, as it is now, the last council meeting of the mandate, of the 4-year mandate, before the election period. There will be another council meeting, one final council meeting in October, but that will be during the election period, which opens on Friday, September the 17th, this Friday. And I want to wish, first of all, every city councilor and every candidate that is presenting themselves for council all the best success, to enjoy the democratic process, and to excel in it and meet people and feel good, because it's what you're doing is putting yourself out there to provide service and help others. So I want to also take the time, and any other councillors who wish to speak are invited to do so after I do. Je veux remercier toute l'équipe, les élus et certainement tous les personnes qui travaillent dans la ville de Côte Saint-Luc et nos gérantes qui ont été fantastiques pendant ce mandat incroyable. I'm going to start off with our city manager Jonathan Schechter, Tanya Abramovich, and Nadia DeFaria. You are an amazing team. The three of you have kept this whole thing going and have helped us all excel as city councilors, and myself as mayor, and all the directors under your leadership. And we've done so much. So I'm going to start off by just going very briefly through to thank each and every one of you, council and directors, for all the things you have done. Whether, Oren Sabag from District 1 was in charge of public safety, and this was the mandate to be in charge of public safety because we had to do a lot. And he worked really closely with Philip Chateauvert, the whole team. And we were able to achieve so much, whether, particularly during the pandemic, whether it was our state of emergency and invoking masks, and when we had to lobby the government on so many occasions for things to happen, and they did, whether it was bringing the army to Maimonides, or a testing center to Côte Saint-Luc, or mobile testing to Côte Saint-Luc, or our vaccinated initiative, and all the departments got together, whether it's the library helping out the seniors getting their passports. So it's really a wonderful team where each one of us has been able to excel and help each other, and all the directors have been really, really great. So thank you, Councillor Sabag and Philip Chateauvert. Mike Cohen, Councillor District 2, Communications, Animal Welfare and Sponsorship. Well, if this was a time where we needed to communicate, it was the time we had to do it, and we learned to do it in new ways. And we have to thank Tara Levine, who is the Director of Communications, for working so closely with all of us to allow us to do what we're doing right now, which is communicate with you. And for Councillor Cohen, who is definitely the communicator on council. Nobody has more blogs, more videos, and more things going for people to know what's happening in his district. And there's no one more connected to their constituents than Mike, making sure that everything's taken care of, from whether it's new equipment at Rembrandt Park or getting a green space reseeded properly with grass. Everything's important to Mike, and he gets it all done. So thank you, Mike, for all your help and everything. Councillor District 3 is Dita Burku, and she's in charge of urban planning, civic engagement, transport, and Central City. And she worked very closely this mandate, very closely and very hard with our city manager. She was city manager at the time, associate city manager responsible for urban development, Tanya Abramovich, with Andrea Shara from purchasing and legal, and with many other members of our team on big initiatives like the Smart City Challenge. And congratulations, Dita, we won $250,000 on that Smart City Challenge, helping seniors have technology in their homes. The whole project was to learn how they could live independently with technology, and we got to that level. We didn't win the 10 million, but we learned a lot, and we continue to use that knowledge in many other ways, whether it's with Transit First, which Dita was also. Councillor Burku was very involved in that initiative, working very hard with the Concordia students and on so many other levels to find ways where we can do better to help the Namur de Lissaban sector move forward the Cavendish extension, which we have done a lot, and hopefully we're doing more, and hopefully move forward with the ARTM as I was with Councillor Burku when they were very much in favor at the ARTM of 2 train stations, one at Cavendish Mall, one at Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center, and one at DeCarry Square, and a tramway hopefully on Cavendish. So thank you so much, Councillor Burku, and I also appreciate your recent work with Rick Lechner on the Vizina problem. Councillor Stephen Early, District Councillor for District 4, in charge of Finance and Environment. Well, we have done a lot with respect to both of those files and done quite well. He's worked very hard and very closely with Angela Marino, our amazing, fantastic, incredible city treasurer. And if it wasn't for Angelo, I do not know what we would do. He's kept our finances in check. He's ensured that we maintain our budget amounts and work within those limits, whether it's councillors, whether it's directors. He's on top of all the numbers and making sure that we budget accordingly in order to move projects forward, but also respect the limits. And we've maintained, our tax rate, always the average family home below the cost of inflation. And he brought in, we all together with Angelo's help brought in a nice $7.6 million surplus this year. So good job, Angelo and Stephen. And Stephen's also very close to issues of the environment. And we've done a lot, as people I'm sure have noticed, whether it's composting, recycling, our brown bin initiatives, and so much more. I know there's a question on the agenda about that, so we'll talk more about the environment shortly. Councillor Gajewski for District 5, in charge of Parks and Recreation and the Côte Saint-Luc Dramatic Society, worked very closely with Cornelia Ziga on many projects, the Director of Parks and Recreation, and we did a lot. I mean, whether it was winning Montreal English Theatre Awards for Dramatic Society productions such as Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, doing projects like The Producers at the Siegel Center. We just did a lot of great theater. The latest one was Cabaret, although it was before the pandemic, and we taught people about the Holocaust while putting on great quality theater in Côte Saint-Luc and brought Holocaust survivors there. So that was really outstanding. And Parks and Recreation is moving forward. And we've renovated Trudeau Park, and we had the annex refrigerated, and Kerwin Park is broken ground, and it's on its way to being the sports park of the city. So thank you, Councillor Gajewski, for all you've done. Councillor Torchman, responsible for library engineering, special projects, and traffic community. I want to thank Councillor Torchman for all his work during this mandate. He's worked very closely with Charles Sedecal, who is responsible for urban planning, and with Janine West, our amazing director of the library. We have the gem of a library on the island of Montreal, and it's really thanks to Janine and her team. So thank you for all your hard work and for all the special projects, particularly the programming that you brought forward during COVID. And I want to thank Charles and Councillor Torgman for all their guidance with respect to engineering issues such as the lead issues. We deciding where we're going to replace pipes, how we're going to help people not drink lead in their water with the filtration systems, or getting a pitcher system. And we're hoping that everybody takes advantage of our system, our different rebates. And that is on the agenda today. We're expanding the program, as well as where we do our resurfacing and replacement and improvement. We do our roads in a way that meets within the budget, Angela Marino, but still we get it done. As well, I also want to thank him for his work on the traffic committee. That's not an easy one, and it involves making some tough decisions and making those recommendations to council, which for the most part, as I've already mentioned, we're independent councillors working as a team. And when we get a recommendation from the traffic committee to put up bollards or traffic calming measures or make a street one way, we generally take that recommendation and we go with it because we know our professionals. Engineering, traffic engineers and professionals have gone through it, and the recommendations are well received. So thank you for all your work there. Councillor Ben-Isri, I want to thank you, who's in charge of seniors, public works, and intercommunity relations, for all the work that you've done with B.B. Newman, our director of public works. And we've done amazing things in public works. I mean, people don't realize the relationship between public works and parks and recreation, like the toboggan run or the ice skating rinks that we put out on skating rinks, or the Ça va bien les lights that came up on all of the lights, or the beautiful flowers. Doesn't happen by itself. So thank you to B.B. Newman, to Sydney Ben-Isri, and we will keep our connections with all the different organizations. And we're always out there to assist, particularly during COVID. We've been there to assist all different organizations, and we'll continue to do so. Okay, so after Sydney Ben-Isri, I have one more to mention, and that I want to make sure that I didn't miss anybody or any of the directors, but I do have one more very important person to mention, District 8. So in District 8 for 2 years, Councillor Kovac served during this mandate, and she served as always with dignity to the last moment. It was, I believe, October the 1st, Rosh Hashanah was 2 years ago that we had lost our Ruth, and she was devoted to city politics and provided such a passionate, level-headed understanding of always doing what was right. And there's nobody like Ruth Kovac. We'll miss her. She was one of a kind, a special friend. Didn't always agree. And we were elected on council in 1990, and we didn't always agree. I had different ideas than Ruth, but as time goes on, you learned from Ruth Kovac that it was okay to not always agree, but you were going to work as a team and get along and move things forward. And she did that for all of us and taught us a lot, and everybody respected Ruth Kovac, and she'll always be remembered and missed, and always be a part of our lives here in the city of Côte Saint-Luc. And Daryl, you can show a few moments of memory of Ruth, please.
And you can save a life and be a hero in many ways. You can join our EMS first responders, you can become a firefighter, you can volunteer your time at a hospital, but the easiest way I know to be a hero and to save a life is to donate blood.
That is exactly Ruth, how you can save a life by donating blood. And her children and her husband followed in that tradition this year, the Ruth Kovac Blood Donor Clinic. They were there all day long, and they continue to keep her legacy alive and make this city special. So a big thank you to the Kovac family, and we'll always be thankful to Ruth. Okay, so thank you all, counselors. Thank you all, city managers and directors for all your amazing work. You have been incredible during this 4-year term. Wish you good health, long life, and much happiness. Remember to enjoy every moment of life. And now we will continue with the next item on the agenda, which is the.
Sorry.
Yeah, oh no,
Mr. Mayor,
not
if I
going
can-
ahead. I want you guys to speak as much as you want. I spoke so long, I'm not giving anybody any limits. Go ahead, go.
If I could say a few words first,
Absolutely.
I want to say it's been a pleasure and a privilege to serve as a city councillor, not just over the last 4 years, but the last 16 years. I have to admit on a personal note, the last year and a half were among the toughest. We faced challenges we never thought we would, and I'm happy to say that we hopefully came out closer as a team as we came through these challenges. And I want to take a moment to say a special thank you to the mayor. I have to admit, it's been, I think, about 5.5 years now since Mayor Brownstein was first elected. And, one thing that I can say is that you've allowed us each to shine. And that's something I truly respect, that if I know for myself, I hope the rest of the council would agree, that if we have something that we're passionate about, a topic, an idea, a motion, you've been there to support us and help us to make it come to fruition. So I want to say a special thank you for allowing us to do that. And I also, if I can add one more comment, regarding Councillor Kovac, I also would like to make a point to say that the last year and a half, one of the things I've thought to myself often is, what would Ruth do? When we were facing some tough times, do we shut down the city? Do we close this? Do we have rules for masks and so on? State of emergency, some of the tough choices we had to make. I often thought of what she would say and what she would do. And she was one who had her strong opinions. And if I could say, I didn't always agree with her. Sometimes we vehemently disagreed, but it was always done in a very respectful way. And I'm happy to say more often than not, we actually agreed, and probably more so as time went on. But like I said, her presence, on a personal note, has been missed by myself. And I know I can imagine it's the same for all of us. So I hope whatever happens moving forward, whoever continues to fill our shoes and takes over in District 8, I hope they'll be able to carry on some of her thoughts and her spirit as well. So anyway, I thank everyone, and again, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Councillor Erdely. Councillor Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the entire council and our staff, not only for the 16 years that I've been on council, but the last year and a half during the pandemic. If someone would have told me that every single one of our meetings for 18 months would be held via Zoom, which I never heard of before the pandemic, and now it's a way of life for us, and that we have made it work. Not only are the council meetings working well, not only do we certainly look forward to going back in public when it's safe, and that might be 6 to 10 months away. But right now, we know there's a lot of people who watch these meetings who never came to council meetings before, because they can watch them from the comfort of their home. They're broadcast on YouTube. We couldn't have done any of this without Darryl Levine, who has been masterful during the pandemic with all his communication skills. And, committees, the traffic committee is a committee that's very important to me. And I frankly wasn't always able to make the meetings because I'd have to run over to City Hall. Now they're online and I haven't missed any. And it's a very important committee for District 2 in the last 4 years. So I think we've learned a lot from the pandemic. I think when and if we come out of this pandemic in the future, we're going to be able to keep a lot of what we've learned, and especially the online process that we do. So I want to thank everyone, and we're still out there. Certainly, I walk my district always, but now that I walk the district during the pandemic, people are so excited to see you. It's like a moving target, and they talk to you from balconies, they talk to you from parks, and everyone is mostly staying safe. So thanks to everybody for all your efforts, everybody around this table, staff and council.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen. Okay, Councillor Burku.
So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I didn't know that we were going to be doing this, so I'll just say what's on my mind. I want to thank you and the council, but mainly you, for leadership in the COVID response. I think that this council in March 2020, when we started, we really didn't know what to expect. When I came back from California and there was one case in New York in a community very similar to ours, I forget its name, I was trying to find it I was trying to Google it. And 10 days later, on March 10th, they had 100 cases. Then we figured out this was going to hit us very hard, especially because of the Purim celebrations and all the festivities that were going forward before the holidays that were to come. And on March 15th and 16th, synagogue, people who were, pardon?
You're freezing out a bit. You might have to turn off your camera. Your internet's a little weak.
Oh, my internet is weak, sorry. So I should turn off the camera.
Turn off your camera, we'll hear you better.
All right.
Just after I praised the online meetings, you had to do that?
Sorry. Something's going on here. Okay, listen, I can turn it off, but if you can hear me, as long as you can hear me, I'll just keep going. So when they were saying,
Turn off your camera. Turn off your camera.
this city of Côte Saint-Luc is going to declare an emergency. And many people said, oh, you can't do that. And we said, oh, yes, we can. And we were the first city on the island, I think in Quebec, that declared an emergency. And we did that on March 17th. And we didn't have one case, but we knew that a couple of weeks later, we were gonna have many. And we did eventually have hundreds of cases. So, that leadership that we showed was very, very significant. And then, of course, we're the first ones to have the mask mandate. And now I think we were the first to introduce the kiosks for the passports for the COVID vaccine. I mean, there's many, many firsts. We were the first community to have parents be vaccinated, the parents of young children, the pilot project that was introduced. There's many, many firsts in this city that was led in the COVID response. And I think we have to thank you for it. And the whole council, we worked as a team to make it work. And we had ups and downs, but in the end, I think we've had positive results. So I want to thank you. And that's really all I want to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Burku. Anyone else? We're good? Okay. Councillor Benizri, Councillor Kajowski, Councillor George.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. J'aimerais juste dire quelques mots. Ça a été un honneur et un privilège pour moi de représenter les résidents de mon district en tant que conseiller au sein de Côte Saint-Luc. Durant ces 4 dernières années, j'ai appris l'importance d'écouter et de répondre aux préoccupations de mes interlocuteurs. J'aimerais ce soir remercier tous mes collègues, les conseillers, Monsieur le maire et toute l'équipe des directeurs et tous les staffs pour cette expérience enrichissante. C'est vrai que les derniers 18 mois ont été un défi et on a su les surmonter. Et je suis convaincu qu'ensemble, on passera à travers ces moments difficiles. Thanks to all the residents in District 7 for their trust and hoping to continue representing you in the next council. Au plaisir de continuer de vous servir. Merci.
Thank you, Councillor Ministry. Councillor Kajowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I won't repeat what others have said, but I will say 2 things. Number 1, it has really been a pleasure working with all of you. The question I get asked most as one of the rookies at the table is what you expected? And the answer is no. And I'm not going to say why that's the case, but it's absolutely not what you expect for incoming councillors, and we're going to have a couple. And I would like to say, I'm going to speak obviously privately with staff members who I've worked with over the last 4 years. But for those of you who I don't remember to speak directly to it. I would like to thank you all for helping me, for teaching me. I apologize for hijacking meetings and for then you spending 2 hours with me, teaching me about engineering and city operations and public works and parks and recreation. I need not go on. Those who need to be thanked know who they are. So thank you for your time and thank you for the last 4 years.
Thank you, Councillor Kujawski. Councillor Torgman.
Thank you. I'll keep it short. I wanted to thank obviously everybody for the learning experience and working with all of you. And I don't want to forget about all the dedicated staff that we have. It was great to work with everybody as a team on council on all the good things that the city offers. And it was an honor to serve the wonderful city that we live in. I also saw from a different perspective areas where we need improvements, but we are all one part of one community, one Côte Saint-Luc, and I wish each and every one of you the best success in your lives with your families. And before we get into the election period, I wanted to wish all the candidates a good campaign. And I want to thank, again, I want to thank you for everything you've done for the community. The future is for all of us moving forward together. C'était une expérience d'apprentissage de travailler avec vous tous et je ne veux pas oublier le staff qu'on a, un staff incroyable. C'était un plaisir de travailler en équipe avec ce conseil sur toutes les bonnes choses que la ville offre et de servir cette merveilleuse ville dont on vit. Alors, j'aimerais remercier tout le monde. On vit dans une communauté, une ville de Côte Saint-Luc et je souhaite à chacun de vous le meilleur succès dans votre vie et vos familles. Et avant d'entrer dans la période électorale, je voulais vous souhaiter tous les candidats une bonne campagne et merci pour tout ce que vous avez fait pour la communauté. Merci.
Thank you, Councillor Torgman. Councillor Sabag.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, it was when we first got elected, I believe there was a guidebook that was given to us. And shortly after we had this brick and we were told that we were coming up on an in-committee meeting. And I think a lot of the new councillors were taken aback. But today, 4 years later, I realized that there was no guidebook for COVID. We all did what we could do, what we needed to do for the residents of Côte Saint-Luc. And for me, one of the biggest priority was also making sure that we were building one of the greatest public safety department the city ever had. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, as well. I think I want to echo what Stephen early said. You know, you listen, you let us shine when we need to. It's always difficult when you're a new councillor to kind of, you know, get some elbow room on stuff that you feel is fair. But we worked together and we made it a great council and a great team, I believe. I want to thank the directors as well that we worked with for 4 years. And I also want to thank my constituents of District 1. It wasn't easy. You know, it's a very convoluted district with 3 different needs, socioeconomic needs as well. But overall, I want to thank everybody for reaching out to me, asking questions, giving ideas, and obviously giving me the support I need throughout the 4 years. So thank you, everybody, and good luck to everybody who's representing this, re-representing themselves in the election period as well.
Thank you, Councillor Sabag. Okay, so now we will move on to the council agenda. It's not, it's an interesting one, not a very controversial one. So hopefully we'll get through it in good time and we'll enjoy the moment. So the next item are questions, and I will ask our city clerk to present us with questions. Let me find my document. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we have 5 questions. So I'm going to read the first question. It's not so much a question, but rather an email that we received. So it was from Louise Legault. and I'm going to read it out. It is with great pleasure that the group 200 mètres Gardiens de la Rivière et de ses droits awards this certificate of recognition to the city of Côte Saint-Luc for its work in saving the St. Pierre River on Meadowbrook. That is the end of the statement. I don't know if anybody wants to continue on that.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that. And I would allow Councillor Early, Councillor Burku, who are more involved in this, they'd like to say a few words to this.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I know that we got a very nice certificate and I appreciate it very much. In particular, I think this certificate is in recognition of the presentations and the communication that Stephen Erdely, our Councillor Erdely, did in the past few months with regard to the cleaning up the cross connections that we have in Côte Saint-Luc. Unfortunately, District 3, District 4, there are many cross connections which go, not many, but there are some that go back to the beginning of when these properties were built, or even more recently when they were renovated. And due to these cross connections, some of the sewage waste water is going into the storm sewer, and that storm sewer is going into the Meadowbrook. And the people who are Les Amis de Meadowbrook are very concerned about that because the city of Montreal was ordered to clean up the storm sewer water that's coming through the Meadowbrook. And Côte Saint-Luc is doing its part in order to clean it up by addressing the issue of cross connections. And Councillor Erdely has been very instructive in presenting everything that we're doing and explaining everything we're doing, and trying to work with Montreal. Obviously, we're trying to collaborate with Montreal and also with Montreal West that has a similar problem to ours. So that's why the certificate was awarded to us, and we'll continue working towards achieving our objective of cleaning up the cross connections. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Maître Provost. Oh, Councillor Early, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I can, well, first if I can reiterate some of the comments by Councillor Burku and yourself, I want to thank Louise. I want to thank Les Amis de Meadowbrook, and I want to thank the Guardians. I want to thank the organization for awarding us this certificate. The goal, one of the goals that I set out upon many years ago, is to do my best to continue to protect and preserve Meadowbrook as a green space. And that's something I will continue to do. There are, as Councillor Burke mentioned, a handful of cross connections. One of the things we've been trying to do is figure out where those are and do our best to remedy those situations. We're going to continue to work on that and trying to get to the bottom of it. And I want to take a moment also to thank the engineering department, who really have been working on this for the last few years, doing different tests, analysis, and helping me with the data so that I was able to better present to groups like Les Amis de Meadowbrook, the Sierra Club, the City of Côte Saint-Luc, and so on, to residents of the library and online, so that they can get a better sense of the issue and understand the problem. So I'm very appreciative of this, and the fight will continue, and we will continue to do everything we can until we've won. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Maître Provost.
The next question is from Norman Sabin. Every day, thousands of drivers make the double left turn from Cavendish South to Fleet East. As we all know, many hit a red light at Randall, Pinedale, and Netherwood, and another red at Queen Mary. Obviously, this slows down traffic flow and hurts the environment. The problem is Cavendish and the four fleets have different cycle times and cannot be synchronized. Cavendish fleet works on 80-second cycles, as does Merton, whereas Randall, Pinedale, Netherwood, and Queen Mary work on 85s. So Cavendish sends a bolus of cars to Fleet every 80 seconds, but Fleet receives them every 85, which leads to the red lights. Cavendish and the four fleets need to have the same cycle times and can then be properly synchronized. Randall would turn green 15 seconds after the double left at Cavendish, and there would be smooth sailing past Queen Mary until the stop at Barons Court. And if Hampstead changed its stop stops to traffic lights, we could be at DeCarry safely in no time. The easy answer is 80-second cycles for all, using 50 plus 30 or 55 plus 25 for the 4 fleet intersections. However, if we want to improve traffic flow along Cavendish from Merton to Mackle, 70 seconds might be better, but the synchro pattern along Fleet eastbound would have to be green, green, red, green, instead of green, 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 red, which would also reduce speeding. You would then have 140-second cycles from Cavendish, Kildare, the Avenue, and Mackle, and 70 at Kellert and Park Haven, and sync all together. Other options are possible, especially for nights and weekends. As you remember, I brought up this same problem at the question period of January 11, 2021, and Mayor Brownstein referred me to Councillor Torchman, who heads the traffic committee. Côte Saint-Luc drivers have the right to better traffic flow, and all municipalities must work towards environmental protection. When will Côte Saint-Luc and Hampstead act on the 80-85 problem?
Thank you. So as I said previously in my comments, the traffic committee, we always refer to the traffic committee for advice and guidance and look for solutions. And I'm glad that you went there. And if we were not able to serve you at that committee, I think it's a very technical question, and you seem to have a lot of knowledge at a technical level that's probably beyond my pay grade. So the people that you should be communicating with are our technical staff, like our traffic engineer, and to bring forward these ideas that will be certainly considered by the traffic engineer, and if necessary, go to outside counsel for if we do any surveys as to the improving our traffic flow based on analysis with the professional company. Now, but what we do see, and that you don't need to be an engineer to see, is that whatever the problem might be on Fleet, where it really gets bad, no matter what we do here in Côte Saint-Luc or what's done in Hampstead, is when you get close to DeCarry. We really get stuck at DeCarry, and that is a problem that we are working on in several different ways. We're working right now with improving flow on Vizina. We have the deal with DeCarry Square where people can park there who live on Vizina, and we're hoping to make that a reality, because a lot of the parking that's on Vizina and also the parking that's on Van Horn when you get to DeCarry slows things up. And we're moving forward with Cavendish Extension. It's going to the Bureau d'Audience Publique now for next steps with respect to the design. But we will definitely, I really appreciate, Mr. Sabin, your comments, and I'd like you to, I want you to take note, Maître Prévost, that I want our traffic engineer to reach out directly to Mr. Sabin, Spiro Yodis, for a discussion on these very technical suggestions. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from Evelyn Maskell. Now that the 4-year tenure has ended, could you please let us know about your accomplishments of your council to reduce the effects of the warming of our environment?
Thank you for this question. Well, there's many things that this council has done, and I'll allow Councillor Ridley, who's responsible for the environment, to add anything you may wish. I know we've been planting a lot of trees. We went up every year, like 2017, 146, but well, 110 in 2019, but by 2019 was 296, and 2020 275. So we're increasing. We're hoping to have 400 done this year. We brought in Communauto to Côte Saint-Luc to reduce the number of cars on the road. We introduced home charging station grant to encourage electric car use. And you'll also see a lot of electric charging stations in our parking lots, in our municipal building parking lots. We created an environment division to focus on climate change and the environment. We have a person at Public Works that works exclusively in that area. We've been fighting for quick access to the metro and other transit, including train stations, as I had mentioned earlier, at Côte Saint-Luc Road, Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center, and DeCarry Square. And there is, with the Cavendish Extension, the recommendation is to have a tramway on it. So we are looking at other ways for people to reduce emissions. We created a heat and heat wave resiliency paper, which has a whole action plan tied to warming. So yeah, From 2007 to 2020, the amount of garbage going to landfill has decreased by 44%, while the amount of waste diverted has nearly tripled. And I will let Councillor Erdely, this is his portfolio, add to that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just if I could add one more that's been a significant issue for Côte Saint-Luc and much of the island, but I have to say it's another one where we've been a leader, is with regard to the amount of water that is wasted in the system. So just as a simple example, when we started doing the pipe sleeving or pipe lining back in 2007, Côte Saint-Luc would see an average about 28 water main breaks per year, 28.4 breaks per year. You can imagine the amount of water that is being lost in the system. And over the last few years, we've reduced that by 61%. So the last few years, it's gone to under 11, so 10.9. So that's about 17 less water main breaks per year. A lot less water is wasted in general in the system. And we've sleeved about 24%. So nearly a quarter of all the pipes in Côte Saint-Luc have been sleeved. It adds also another 30, 40, 50 years to the life of the pipe. One more thing to mention is electric vehicles. When we started, we were just looking at some hybrid vehicles. So since then, we purchased a few electric vehicles. We'll be purchasing more hybrid. And long term, the goal is to go all electric for the fleet. And I would say that'll be coming hopefully soon, sooner than we can imagine. So I want to thank the mayor and thank the environmental division, which has grown in recent years in terms of implementing some of these initiatives. Thank you.
Councillor Erdely. So, Councillor Torchman.
Mr. Mayor, I don't want to forget about the composting that the city does. That started, I was a director of public works at the time in 2006. I think we started 2007. We started the composting program, and that's a fantastic program. That does a lot of in terms of diversion from the waste landfills, and it's a great reuse of a resource for getting more compost for free. So that's a great thing that we're doing for the environment as well.
Yeah, and I was the councillor responsible for public works at the time, and Councillor Erdely was still involved in environment, and we all went to Quebec City to present our plan. That was good times. Okay, now we'll go to the next question. Thank you.
The next question is from Alan Benayoun. Are there any plans to develop the Cavendish Mall site for additional housing in the near future?
I wouldn't say the near future. I know that all the malls talk about developments with residential housing on top and commercial at the bottom floor. We don't have anything in front of us at present to present. Over the coming years, we'll be redoing our master plan and going for consultations to see what the public would like to see, not only at Cavendish, but at Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Centre and at Carey Square, to see if we could improve those sites in some way that would benefit the city. But we don't have anything in front of us at the moment. Okay, next question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the last question from Phoebe Monroe. With respect to the agenda item for the September 13th meeting, I have serious concerns as a tenant of 5475 Westminster regarding the minor exemption. The request is to allow the existing mixed dwelling to maintain the existing 11 indoor parking spaces instead of the minimum required 55 indoor parking spaces as a result of creating 9 new residential dwelling units on the existing ground floor. My email is not to discuss the parking spaces, but rather to query as to why they are asking for a permit for renovations in the first place. I ask as living conditions have decreased markedly since the current owners took over the building 2 years ago. Up till then, this was a good place to live, clean, quiet, and bug-free. Now the lack of maintenance and basic sanitation standards has increased to the point where it is barely livable. I detailed all the problems in a lengthy letter to council back in August, so I will not repeat myself, but the major problems remain the huge influx of cockroaches, lack of repairs, inadequate heating in January, so the landlord could save money. As he told his manager, the foyer and halls of the building are dirty, the elevator often doesn't work, there aren't enough garbage cans, with the results that tenants leave garbage on the floor of the garage. As Holland Leasing has never taken steps to mitigate the ongoing problems, it has become an unclean, unsafe place to live. To then add a long period of renovation directly beneath the residents on the second floor is to render the apartments there virtually inhabitable for months due to noise and disruption. As a senior with severe respiratory issues living directly above the renovations, the dust alone would mean I'd have to leave, as it would literally imperil my health. This during a pandemic that threatens respiratory issues for all. My question is, what steps is Côte Saint-Luc Council taking to hold Holland Leasing to account for any changes that may prove damaging to the current tenants resulting from this amendment for renovation? What compensation will be offered to those forced to move out, and when is this renovation likely to take place? Why has Holland not communicated in any way with tenants like myself, who only found out about this word of mouth in the building? As municipal council, you have a responsibility to ensure that the rights of our citizens are protected. This has not been forthcoming so far. We have asked several times for a city inspector to come and inspect some of the maintenance issues, and this has not happened. Tenants need to make plans to ensure their own safety before and planned renovations take place. Housing is not a financial commodity, it is a human right. As a municipal government, Côte Saint-Luc has a responsibility to protect its citizens' right not to allow landlords who cannot even maintain minimum standards to add new units simply to increase profits. Why does Côte Saint-Luc only appear to be on the side of landlord and not on the tenants when reasonably priced accommodation is vanishing everywhere? This is a major problem and will be one of the main elements in both federal and municipal elections, with citizens expecting their governments to stand up for them in terms of housing affordability. We expect the city of Côte Saint-Luc to be no different in this regard.
Thank you for your question. I don't know if Councillor Early, I know it's his district and you might want to make a few comments, but we certainly stand behind our tenants. The people that are the most important for us in our city are the residents of Côte Saint-Luc. But before I make additional comments, it looks like Councillor Early wants to speak. So go ahead, Councillor Early.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'll try to respond to most of the points. First and foremost, the goal is to ensure the rights of the tenants, and the number one issue is, of course, with regard to their ability to live in a clean environment, live in a safe environment. In terms of their rent, the goal is to ensure that the landlords don't increase the rent beyond what is reasonably allowed by the Régie de Logement. Now, the residents have to, on that note, they have to know their rights. Sometimes, I was a tenant for many years. Sometimes the landlord will attempt to increase the rent beyond. The resident has the right, of course, to refuse it. And they have to exercise that right as per the law. In terms of the buildings in the district, one of my goals and one of the things that I have focused on over the last few years is keeping an eye on the buildings. Some of the directors who are online or watching know I'm the one often who sends an email or makes a phone call. Hey, you need to go check this building. This building needs to be fined. And there's some buildings that I've pushed to be fined over and over again because they continue to not follow the rules. And my hope is, of course, by continuing to find them, they will get it. Some, it takes a bit longer. Some are quicker. One of the things is I'm very persistent, and the council and our staff are persistent, and we keep pushing until we make sure that the residents' rights are respected, and we'll continue to do that in each and every case, including this one. So I can assure the residents that is something we are going to be doing. I know the mayor will speak to this, or Councilor Burke will speak to it further. This item that will be deferred, so it will not be voted on tonight. But just all that to say that before anything does happen, the goal is to make sure that it is respectful to the residents. We want to make sure that the buildings are safe, in good condition. I can tell you, I personally have met with some of the landlords. I can tell you I've met with regard to our urban planning department, our engineering, the police, fire, and believe that we are doing everything we can when there are landlords who are not doing what they should be doing, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Early. So I just wanted to make note that, first of all, this project was supposed to add on an additional floor, and that was pulled for now because there was concern by the residents of the building. And now, once again, issues are being brought forward at a public council meeting in this format, and we're going to defer. But you don't need to wait for a public council meeting. We're available, your council is available, myself, the mayor is available, and staff are available. And I'm asking you, Ms. Monroe, and any other tenants in the building, if you wish to have a meeting with our urban planning department, ensure an inspection if it's needed, or need advice and guidance on your rights in order for us to provide you with the proof that you need should you decide to go to the rental board. That's what we're here for. We're here for you, the residents first. Of course, we want all of our buildings to be beautiful, and we want a good tax base, but not at the cost of our residents. It has to benefit our residents. So please come to Councillor Erdely and myself, and we'll direct you to staff. Send us our emails. They're very easy to know everybody's email on this meeting. It's always our first initial and our second name at cotesaintluc.org. So I'm looking forward to receiving something from you. We'll follow up with you because we see your email here, but you have ours as well. Thank you. Yes.
Can we just ensure that the inspector goes as requested? Can we just
100%, 100%. You want an inspector, we'll get you an inspector. Doesn't, I see no reason why it hasn't happened already. But anyway, we'll look into it, and we'll please stay in touch with myself and your counselor directly. Thank you. The next question, or there are none?
That's it for question period.
Okay, very nice.
Mr. Mayor, I noticed that Melody Cohen had sent in 2 questions to us, and she said she sent it in to the correct address. I don't know whether we could read her questions out.
Councillor Cohen, you have it in front of you, I know. So why don't you read the question and answer it, because it was sort of directed towards your portfolio.
Yes, I'm just going to try to find it. Give me a second here. I'm just going to go into my email. Here we go. Okay, so Melody, who is very involved with animal protection, she has discussed with me. She wants to know if Côte Saint-Luc will be implementing a bylaw for the claw traps, since one was found around the neck of a skunk on Castlewood very recently. The SPCA informed her that it's a gray area and she'd like to see Côte Saint-Luc take a stand. What I can tell you, Mr. Mayor, is that I've been working with Jean-Marc Dubois from our public safety department, who has an affinity for animals. And he's been kind of the liaison to the cats committee and the dog owners committee, which we started actually in this mandate. He has determined that this is a responsibility of the provincial government in terms of the law. There is a law provincially, and the problem is we need to find out who laid these traps, because it's one thing to get a legal action against a person. But in this particular case with the skunk, which was a terrible thing, it could have been a dog, it could have been a cat, any animal could have got caught in there. We don't know who put it out. We would only guess. We know it was in Castlewood, but the skunk apparently dragged itself quite a distance. So you need to know, if we knew that someone saw the person, public security could probably visit and knock on that door and use the provincial law to get charges laid. So I think the message that we'll give through the committees certainly is that Jean-Marc is doing more research to determine what can be done. But I think all citizens, if any citizen sees anyone laying a trap like that, someone might say, oh, well, maybe it's going to trap a skunk. But you know what? First of all, a skunk is an animal. I know we're not fond of the smell of certain skunks, but they're animals, groundhogs, squirrels, but certainly people who have pets at home, cats. Some people have cats that are left outdoors. Some people, even though they're not supposed to, walk their dogs off leash, or a dog has a long leash, and it would be horrified. And I know, some other members of council here are animal owners as well. So I'm asking the citizens, and I think we should embark on a sensitization campaign to keep our eyes open to see if anyone is perpetrating what I consider to be a horrible crime. So that would be the answer to that question, Mr. Mayor, at the present time.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen.
And she had a second question. This is to you, I think, Mr. Mayor. I know this falls under provincial, but is there any way we can see our council putting pressure to bring back a testing center in Côte Saint-Luc. I've spoken with many parents that have children attending schools where there have been many cases recently, and with all the test centers closing, it is more difficult to get our kids PCR tested. Imagine standing in line for over 4 hours with a young child to be tested. So, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you have an answer for that.
I could certainly send an email to Dr. Kaiser from Santé Publique. I have a very good relationship with him. So let me take note. That's what we'll do for starters, to see if there's anything that can be done. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, just apropos to your announcement at the beginning about elections and nominations and, full disclosure, Melody Cohen was my opponent in the last election. We're now very good friends, and she's someone's had working on all my committees. So it just goes to show you we have a democratic process, but in the end, we shake hands, or in this day and age with COVID, we knock elbows.
Okay, very good. Absolutely. Yeah, I have an excellent relationship with Melody Kahn, and I appreciate your question. And I'm getting that email to Dr. Kaiser right away. Okay, so now let us move to the next item, which is approval of the minutes. Councillor Sabag.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That the minutes of the special council meeting of August 9th, 2021 be submitted and hereby approved.
Thank you, Councillor Sabag, seconded by Councillor Ben-Isri. Any discussion? All in favor?
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
Just a friendly clarification. The minutes, they're the minutes of the regular meeting.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
No worries.
Did you want to, okay, thank you. Moved and seconded, all in favor, carried unanimously. And did you want to add something to the agenda or change something, Councillor Burko? This would be the time.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So there is, we just referred to, which with regard to the minor exemption for the Westminster, that item is 11.2F. Should be added to the agenda with the proviso that it will be deferred because there was some information missing in the file, so we cannot adopt it this evening, but it's going to be on the agenda, and when we come to that item, we'll defer it. And also I want to remove item 13A. That was a resolution for the national strategy on urban planning. We'll find other ways of sending the message along. I don't think we need to adopt a resolution tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burku. And now we move on to item 2, business arising from the minutes, if there's any. Otherwise, we go to departmental reports. Councillor Cohen. You're on mute. You're on mute, Mike. We don't hear you. You'll have to do it again. Unmute it. I believe he said, I move the minutes up.
Yes, I move that the council and committee reports be adopted as presented.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Early. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just an update. Very exciting news for the Côte Saint-Luc Cats Committee. Of course, our gala concert, which is usually held at this time, it had to be canceled last year due to COVID. We did an online concert. This year, we've just got some good news. I don't know who people know Edwin Orion Brownell, but Edwin, he's been doing Corona concerts, he calls them, on Facebook on Saturday evenings after Shabbos. And he does it from his home. He's masterful, and he does it for different causes. And I spoke to him a few weeks ago, and I said, Edwin, would you consider doing a benefit concert for the Côte Saint-Luc Cats Committee? And he agreed. So on Saturday night, October 9th at 8 p.m., Edwin, via his Facebook page, will be doing this concert. He's got the technology that some members of our committee will speak. It will also be the official kickoff for the Côte Saint-Luc Cats Committee raffle. Last year, we did a raffle instead of the concert, and it brought in the funds needed, that combined with the grant we get from the city to allow us to continue our good work. So the committee is meeting with Edwin next week, and we're very excited, and people will be able to watch it live on Facebook. So I want to thank Edwin for his generosity, and it's going to be a great, and he's promised to sing some Cat songs, some Cat Stevens songs. He's got a whole repertoire for that evening. As well, just a note, I want to thank Public Works again for putting the picnic table. Now, people living on Marc Chagall had asked, could we put picnic tables on part of the lot that is not going to be raised with the grass? We're going to talk about that shortly in the agenda. But some of them wanted to know, we're seniors. Could you find picnic tables that have backs to the chairs? And thank you, John Montero and Bibi Newman and Nadia Dufuria and the whole team. They found them and they installed them on the weekend. So we have two beautiful picnic tables with chairs with backs on them right in the park there. So that's really great news. Very excited to see that. And finally, Mazel Tov, congratulations to Beth Chabad Côte Saint-Luc on their 10th anniversary. It was 10 years ago, Rosh Hashanah, that they moved into their new building. And I know many members of council here were responsible for that wonderful building. They've like all synagogues in our community, they've persevered during COVID. I had a recent visit there with Rabbi Raskin and his family, and they're doing wonderful things. They have a program now called Hebrew Champions, and this is for the community at large. Anybody who perhaps doesn't send their child to Hebrew day school and wants to get them some Hebrew education. Hebrew Champions is a Judaic and Hebrew language program, and it's either right now on weekends for September, and it's going to go to weekdays after school during the month. So you could just go to chabadcsl.com for more details. So thank them for their contribution. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cohn. And we also sent them a certificate on behalf of the city of Côte Saint-Luc for their 10 years. I know it was a long challenge. They've been really in our community for like 30 years. I remember all the work they did through when they were at the Cavendish Mall and going from site to site until we found them a very wonderful location, and thank them for all their wonderful service to the community. I personally attended, I know Councillor Burku as well, several of the blowing of the shofar. It was really wonderful to be a part of the blowing of the shofar in the parks in Côte Saint-Luc. Wherever you would go, there was shofar blowing this holiday. So Shana Tova, and congratulations to them. And Edwin, if you remember at your concert, you can play a special song for my anniversary, October the 9th, to Elaine and Mitch, to the best wife watching right now, I'm sure, our anniversary number 33. Play us a song. Next, anybody else want to speak? Councillor Burku.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, merci. I just wanted to remind people that the Côte Saint-Luc, I'm reading from the Inside Out magazine. It's called Au Courant in French and Inside Out in English. Côte Saint-Luc devient un living lab en soutien aux aînés isolés. So basically what's happened is we, as sort of phase 2 of the Smart City project, the City of Saint-Luc and its research partners, which are the CU Centre Ouest and the Université de Montréal, we're going to receiving a grant of over $800,000. And basically now the phase we're in is we are doing a call out. We'll post it on our website for all community groups that deal with seniors. So it could be a Senior Men's Club, the Cummings Center, the St. Patrick's Square, any community groups that have the dealings with seniors. We're inviting them to send us some information about them and probably invite them to our round table so that we can start this Living Lab project. That's the first thing I want to report. I've been very involved in this with Tanya Abramovich, and I think it's going to go very well in our city when we have at least 20 seniors, ultimately over 20 seniors who are going to be part of the pilots projects and have technology in their homes, and they're going to be better connected to the services that they need, as well as telehealth, which is so important in this day and age because telehealth has become so important. Now, I also want to congratulate Chabad for 10 years. I was on council when we first agreed to it, and I'm very, very, very pleased that they've reached the 10-year anniversary. Congratulations. And I want to also announce another project that I'm working on with Mike Cohn this time, that we will be setting up sound monitoring equipment along the Merrimack and Bailey corridor, and also at other locations in the city where we have sound issues, either emanating from the railways or from generators in pools and yards and rooftops. Councillor Erdely knows what I'm talking about. So we are going to start, I think it's a 3-month trial project where we're going to be monitoring and collecting the data, and that data eventually is going to be used in order to advance the complaints of the residents and see if we can find solutions to these railway issues. But I have to say that since residents got organized and did file complaints with the city, and we went to the CP and we had meetings with the mayor and with Jonathan Schechter, our city manager, and CP on 2 or 3 occasions, and wrote countless emails. I know I spent a lot of time writing those emails. We ultimately did get some positive response. The noise level has been reduced, but unfortunately, and I'm going to say this publicly because it's for the record, the railway company we know is just, CP has just bought Kansas City Railway for $30 billion. They have lots of money to spend on increasing the traffic and the volume. And we'd like them now to be possibly spending a little bit of that money as well on mitigating the noise and the vibration and the inconvenience in our own community. So we'll see what the data shows, and we will try to advance the cause of the peaceful enjoyment of our residents in Côte Saint-Luc. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burkill. Okay, let me see who's next. Councillor Binisri, Councillor Erdely afterwards, and then Councillor Torchman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to give an update of the black bean implementation. The distribution of the beans is now completed. A grand total of 4,501 beans were distributed over the span of 9 days. All the requests, I know that some people called the public works for different requests, will be treated beginning of next week, so the week of September 20th. I want also to mention the big drop-off on August 22nd. Despite the extreme temperature, it was very hot that day. I can tell you that more than 306 residents came by to public works yard to drop off the electronic, household hazardous waste and document to shred. So this is something I wanted to mention. I want to thank all the team of public work for all this work that was done. And also I would like also to mention a special mention to Chabad, to congratulations to Chabad on their 10-year anniversary. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Binisri. And now we have Councillor Erdely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start on the financial side. So just as a reminder for residents, hopefully you didn't miss this one, but the second installment for taxes was due on August 25th. So if you haven't yet paid, please do so. In terms of water rebates, we've issued 190 water rebates to date, and you'll be hearing a bit later this evening about an amendment to the program that'll make it easier for residents to make sure that they're filtering their water, especially if they suspect they may have lead. Just a reminder, if you haven't yet signed up, if you live in one of the homes that may have lead that were built in that period where lead was used in certain pipes, please make sure to sign up for your testing. I signed up. I had my water tested a few weeks ago, and I should be getting my results in a few weeks from now. So I look forward to seeing that from my own home. Also to mention on the financial side, we're busy preparing for the 2022 budget. Obviously, things will have to pause during the election period, but we'll continue after. Or, hopefully, I'll have the opportunity to continue after, and hopefully we all will, to finalize the budget. And just one more highlight on that side. In terms of transfer duties, so this is the taxes from the sale of homes and properties. We had budgeted 3.7 million for the year for the 2021. And as of early July, we're at 3.5 million. So it's a very good number, meaning a lot of homes and buildings have been bought and sold in Côte Saint-Luc to date. So on this line item, it looks like we're going to be able to hit the mark and have a small surplus on this item, but we'll see, of course, as the year progresses. On the environmental front, as was mentioned earlier, the tonnages, again, are quite good. I'll share the recent and then just a bit of the history. Comparing this year to date versus last year, organic waste collection up 5%, recycling up 6%, and garbage down 7%. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, since 2007, and it was actually, it was September 2007, so 14 years ago, when we started the organic waste collection. Since then, we've reduced the tonnage of waste going to landfill by 44%. So just to give some numbers to make that clear, so we used to send about 12,000 metric tons of waste to landfill. Now we're sending under 7,000, and just to picture that, it's the equivalent of about 500 less garbage trucks full of garbage going to landfill. So instead of going to landfill, that is going to organic waste, to be composted, to be recycled, for bulky waste and so on. So it's quite an accomplishment, and the trend continues to improve. Every year the numbers are getting better, and I thank Côte Saint-Luc residents for participating in these programs to ensure that we can continue to bring down the waste that has gone to landfill. And I'm just looking at my notes. I think that's it for now. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Erdely. Councillor Torchman.
Mr. Mayor. So just to start off with the library, there was over 600 or close to 600 care calls that were done by the library staff. And it's just a fantastic service. The library, one of the fantastic services the library offers. There's the butterfly garden is open. And as always, Science Demystified is available every month by Dr. Schwartz. It's these are a lot of the services that are available online virtually. And of course, the contact-free pickup is still available at the library if you want to go and get books or anything that you desire. So please reach out to the library. Everything's available on the website. In the engineering department, Weitzman Road and Davies, as well as some scarification on Côte Saint-Luc Road, will begin shortly. So that'll be exciting. And a lot of work in various parks, chalets, and pathways was finished in the last month. So a lot of great work was done by the engineering department over this summer. So I want to thank the staff there as well. For Chabad of Côte Saint-Luc, it's my show, and I want to wish them a mazel tov on 10 years. They do so much in the building, but a tremendous amount outside of the building for the community. And I want to give them a big mazel tov and a congratulations for 10 years in the building, but close to 30 years in the community. And one last plug, Maison Mosaic is having a fundraising garage sale on Wednesday, September 22nd. So you can drop off any slightly used goods, toys, household items, books, baby toys at 6215 Côte Saint-Luc Road. It's right on the corner of Alpine and Côte Saint-Luc Road. And they're there from 9:30 till 2:30 Monday to Thursday. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Torchman. Anyone else? Councillor Sabagan and Councillor Kajewski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy to see some more VCOP vehicles out and about in the city of Côte Saint-Luc. We are now up to 72 active members. Their VCOPs have been active in the month of August, helping out the engineering department, distributing flyers, public works department with information packages. So thank you very, very much to these incredible volunteers, the VCOPs, doing once again a great job for our residents. I also wanted to run a few numbers by you. As you know, I've always been a fan of trying to respond faster to our residents, including our dispatch center. Over 1,200 calls this month alone. The average time was about 2 minutes and 44 seconds, but we responded at 83% of these calls under 30 seconds, which is a great service to our residents. A couple of words on the EMS front. 99.9% of the month of August was covered. That's great because we had 183 interventions by our volunteers. That's close over 1,800 hours of volunteers. Some mentions of 2 years of service with Lawrence Biggio, Marc-Andre Dore, Liam Sullivan Nelson as well. So thank you again for all the volunteer work on both the VCOP side as well as the EMS side. On the traffic around DeCary Square, met with some residents. Happy to report that, you know, especially some of the experts, Rick Lechner in particular, who's put a great article on the traffic of DeCary, and certainly looks like we're trying to do what's best right now, and some ideas that were brought up prior to all of this, prior to COVID, are now taking place with some parking optimization at DeCary Square. So I'm happy to see that happen for our residents. Hopefully more ideas coming along very shortly. I do want to mention something more on a professional side. I don't know if Melanie Cohn is listening. Mike Cohen, maybe you can transfer that message to her. There's no reason why anybody should wait 4 hours for a COVID test. I am willing and offering my services to anybody who needs a COVID test, not to wait 4 hours, whether a molecular test or a rapid detection test. I'm willing to do it for free. 514-212-8384. Text me, share this number. More than willing to do that for some of the residents of our community. No reason why someone should wait 4 hours. I was actually thinking of going around several districts and bringing my my COVID truck and see if people wanted to get more information on the different tests. And again, I feel for all the parents. I have 3 myself that we have to test regularly because of my job. So anybody who wants one, let me know. That's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Sabag. We're very blessed with our councillors. That's particularly that offer that's very, very, very special. Councillor Kajowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. I'll sound like a broken record, but there are too many Parks and Recreation programs to go into here. So please subscribe to the Parks and Recreation newsletter. I just found out there are over 1,000 people on that mailing list. So the more the merrier, more people hear about our programs, the better. In the district, we did break ground on Kerwin Park, as you mentioned. I'm going to go take a selfie maybe tomorrow. Just for now, the frame of the new chalet has been cut out, and I hear that next week they'll be fencing off the park. So it'll be unfortunately off limits for the year, but it'll be to everyone's benefit. Fast forward to next fall. Very exciting to see the new park finished up. I also had my, I don't know how many, 6th, 7th, I forget how many district Q&A meetings or councillor Q&As, very informal meetings that I have with my residents. For the first time, I sent out an email to inform everyone about it. And in the past, I've been doing it just on Facebook. And I had close to 40 people come to the meeting. So it was a very good, productive session. My wife, who maybe you can see behind me, helps run it. She runs the technical side, takes questions, takes notes. So thank you, dear. And I'll be having another one in the month of October for the election. I don't know if I'll have one in November. I'll probably be a little busy then, but so whoever wants to be added to that mailing list, please reach out and just mention to add your name, and you'll be one of close to 500 people who get that email to advise them of my Q&As. I guess that's it for me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kajowski. So I think that does it for the departmental reports discussion. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously, and we move to the financial information technology section. 5A, Councillor Erdl.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that loan bylaws mentioned in the first paragraph of the preamble be financed by bond in accordance with the following conditions. The bonds, one bond per maturity, be dated October 1st, 2021. Interest will be payable semi-annually on April 1st and October 1st each year. The bonds will not be redeemable in advance. However, they may be redeemed with the consent of the holders in accordance with the Act regarding municipal debts and loans. The bonds will be registered in the name of the Canadian Depository for Securities Limited, CDS, and filed with it. CDS will act on behalf of its participants as a register for the book-based system, entry agent, and paying officer in charge of the transactions regarding its members. CDS will proceed with the transfer of funds according to the legal requirements of the bonds, and for that purpose, the Côte Saint-Luc City Council authorizes the City Treasurer to sign the documents required by the Canadian banking system entitled Autorisation pour le plan de débit préautorisé destiné aux entreprises. CDS will make payments of the principal and interest to members through electronic fund transfers. For this purpose, CDS will directly withdraw the required amounts from the following account: the Royal Bank of Canada. That the bonds will be signed by the mayor and the city treasurer. The city of Côte Saint-Luc, as entitled by law, has mandated CDS to act as its fiscal authenticator agent, and the bonds will become valid once they have been authenticated. That with regard to the annual capital amortization schedule for 2027 and subsequent years, the future terms of the following loan bylaws number 2333, 2357, 2361, 2365, 2366, 2348, and 2359 will be shorter than the one originally set, i.e. for a term of 5 years as of October 1st, 2021, instead of the term prescribed for said amortizations, each subsequent issue being for the balance or part of the balance due on the loan.
Moved by Councillor Erdl, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion?
So I'll give a bit more background as to what this is. So what we're doing is renewing well, in effect, what we're doing is almost like renewing a mortgage as one would have with a house. So for example, my home, every 5 years or so, it's time to renew the mortgage rate. So the city does that with our loans as well. So these loans actually go back to 10 years ago, to 2011. Some of the items, for example, I was looking through what the original bylaws or the original loans were for example, redoing the traffic lights at Côte Saint-Luc Road in Westminster. Singerman Park was redone as part of these loans. Imagination Park, the Aquatic Center as well, or at least the city portion of the Aquatic Center. So these loans go back about 10 years. And some of them, I should mention, are 15-year amortization. Some of them are 20, 25. It depends on the type of loan or the type of purchase that was made with each of these bylaws. But all that to say, we're renewing our loan, or in effect, like I said, renewing the mortgage. We don't actually have the rate yet. I was speaking to our treasurer about this earlier today. We will get the rate on September 20th. So at that point, we'll know it. I'll report at the next meeting once we have the rate. Hopefully, it'll be low. We've been lucky. I should say the last few years with interest rates being low, that we've gotten low rates on renewing our loans, and hopefully it'll be the same in this situation. So that's it for me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Erdl.
Mr. Mayor, I just had another friendly clarification that some of the dates in this resolution may need to be modified by 1 day, just to reflect the fact that we're starting 1 day later on October 1st. I see certain interest payable dates and whatnot. So we will confirm with the Quebec Ministry of Municipal Affairs and the Ministry of Finance just to ensure that the accurate date is indicated in the resolution.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? So it is carried, and we move to the next item, 5B, Councillor Erdl.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the attached list of disbursements for the period of August 1st, 2021 to August 31st, 2021 for a total amount of $4,715,336.12 in Canadian funds, and that treasurer certificate number 21-0124, dated September 3rd, 2021, has been issued by the city treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Early, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion on the disbursements?
So I'll share some of the highlights. So the major items on in this month's disbursements, it includes a payment from a holdback from the swimming pool renovations that were done last year. Anytime there's a major project, we hold back a small amount to make sure, of course, that everything is done as per the warranty. There's also a future payment for the streetlights. We've done over 500 streetlights to LEDs. I'm happy to say I've done a few drive-throughs over the last, just as an aside, done drive-throughs, and I report burnt out streetlights, but I'm happy to say every one of the LED lights is working perfectly. Not a single one is burnt out. There's also some payments for line painting, some renovations in the library that have been done in terms of the carpet, payments for our water contractor, and we talked about a capital payment or a bond that we're renewing. So there's a payment on a past bond as well that has come up in the month of August. So those are the highlights for the disbursements for the month of August. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Early. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously, and we move to item 5C, which is also Councillor Early. This is the one with the water rebates.
Thank you. Be it resolved that bylaw 2554-3, amending bylaw 2554, entitled bylaw 2554-3, amending bylaw 2554, instituting a water filter rebate program in order to amend Annex A to include a $200 rebate for the purchase of a 5-gallon bottle water dispenser and the distribution of filtered water pitchers, be is hereby adopted.
Moved by Councillor Early, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion?
Yeah, so maybe just to clarify. So again, as previously mentioned, residents whose homes were built in that period, and generally it's from the 50s, early 50s to early 70s, where lead may have been used in the service line, are recommended to first get their water tested, as I have done, and hundreds, I think we're about 1,000 or maybe just over 1,000 residents who have had their water tested already. So they're encouraged to do that. In the meantime, we ask them to please get a water filter. And what the city is trying to do is offer different options how to do that. So I'm just looking at the list. So an example is to purchase a filter, a pitcher with a built-in filter that make sure it has the NSF 53 certification. And it could be a sort of Brita style filter. It could be one that is attached to the faucet. There's also ones that are in the refrigerator, for example. If you have a filter, I was looking at this the other day, the filter that are on the refrigerator dispensers are NSF 53. There's also the under sink, could be reverse osmosis. There's different types of filters. Those are either NSF 53 or NSF 58. We also are supplying for some residents who may need a pitcher, and the city will actually deliver it to your house. So if you need one, you could do that. And there's also the large 5-gallon water containers that many residents have, which is another option to have water that we know is lead free. So all that to say, residents have several options. Like I said, if you are living in one of the homes, we encourage you to do this. 190 have so far. The goal is to get that number higher. So please, if you are interested, make sure to get one of these filters and apply for the rebate. It's either a $50 rebate or a $200 rebate, depending on the case.
Right. So the whole objective, obviously, is to get people to drink clean water without lead. That's why we're providing many different options. You can get the pitcher. We can deliver you the pitcher if you're not able to go buy it yourself, although, of course, we hope that people that can buy it themselves will. That's a $50 rebate, or the $200 has two options: the reverse osmosis underneath the tap, which makes your tap water become 99.9% free of lead, or the machine. You can get $200 for the machine, where you would put a big water bottle type of system onto that machine, and you'd also can get $200 towards that machine. So there are many ways to avoid drinking water with any lead in it. And we are probably one of the most proactive cities on the island of Montreal, offering so many different options. Please choose one. Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? It's carried unanimously. And we move to the next item, which is human resources. 6A, Councillor Sabag.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That the City of Côte Saint-Luc ratifies the amendment of employee agreement for Philippe Chateauvert, Jean-Marc Dubois, and Eddie Afram, so that they receive an on-call premium of 1 hour per day when they are on call and 1 hour per time when they must come into work. The amendments are effective July 26th, 2021, that the Treasurer Certificate number 210123, dated September 2nd, 2021, has been issued by the City Treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expense.
Moved by Councillor Sabag, seconded by Councillor, who'd like to second it? Councillor Burku. Any discussion?
Yeah, so this is again part of an ongoing measure to make sure that we can cover some of the upper management throughout emergencies. So right now, the three directors do rotate when there's an emergency. So they're on call, and if there's a fire, they come in from far. So we're making sure that they get compensated for that on call, which is a long time coming, and certainly very beneficial to make sure that we get proper coverage from an executive and management perspective.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? It's carried unanimously. We move to item 6B. Is Councillor Burkus. Councillor, my notes aren't that good. I think it's Councillor Burkus. Councillor Burkus.
Thank you. So item 6B is a resolution to hire a, I'll read it in French, que le conseil il est proposé que le conseil municipal de Côte Saint-Luc approuve l'embauche de Johan McCarthy Normandin à titre de gestionnaire des élections pour un contrat à durée déterminée, poste cadre, à compter du 30 août 2021 au 20 décembre 2021, que le certificat du trésorier numéro 21-0125, daté du 3 septembre 2021, a été émis par le trésorier de la ville attestant la disponibilité des fonds pour couvrir les dépenses décrites ci-dessus.
OK, proposé par le conseiller Burko et appuyé par le conseiller Kajaski. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
So this is the resolution to hire a manager of elections for the fixed term of August 30th to December 20th, 2021. And we're looking forward to hiring him. And I guess he's starting to work. He started to work already because there's a lot to do. We're having the elections November 7th, and he's going to have to wrap it up after the November 7th election. So that's why it goes till December. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Burku. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? It is carried unanimously. And now we move to the next item, C. Councillor, Councillor, I think it's Councillor Torchman. Or is,
yeah, I can do it.
go do it. Sure. Unless somebody else wants to do it. Kajowski, was it you?
Sorry. So I'll just.
Burku?
But
Yeah, page 205.
205.
thank you. That the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the appointment of Eva Makarowitz as permanent secretary administrative services in the Urban Development Department effective August 24th, 2021.
Moved by Councillor Torchman, seconded by Councillor Burku.
Yes, thank you.
Discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to item number D, which is aquatics. Councillor Gajowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council ratifies the hiring of Anna Zuyao Shi as a Côte Saint-Luc aquatic swim team coach for a fixed term management contract effective from June 28, 2021 to August 27, 2021. That treasurer certificate number 21-0122 dated September 2nd, 2021 has been issued by the city treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Kajowski and seconded by Councillor Ben-Isri. Any discussion? Coach.
It's self-explanatory. Yeah, the term is actually finished. This is a swim team coach for the summer period.
All in favor? Carry, Councillor Cohen? In favor? Carried unanimously. Okay, now we move on to item E, which is Public Works and Environment. So Councillor Ben-Isri and Councillor Ben-Isri, go ahead. Councillor.
Mr. Mayor, be resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council ratifies the hiring of Carly Steven as an environmental technician, white collar auxiliary position, effective September 7, 2021. The treasurer's certificate number 21-0118, dated September 2nd, 2021, has been issued by the city treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Thank you, Councillor Ben-Isri, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion?
I think it's explanatory.
Thank you. Okay, great. All in favor? It is carried unanimously, and now we move on to the next item, which is the library. This one's Councillor Torchman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the City of Côte Saint-Luc ratifies the hiring of Alicia Giambattista as on-call library clerk, white-collar auxiliary position effective August 18, 2021, that the treasurer certificate number 21-0119 dated September 2nd, 2021 has been issued by the city treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Torchman, seconded by Councillor Ben-Isri. Any discussion? Oh,
The hiring of a library clerk in the library, to keep things running smoothly.
excellent. All in favor? Anyone opposed? It is carried unanimously. Councillor Sabag, you voted? Library clerk, good? All in favor? Yeah. Okay, Councillor Sabag, you hear me? I don't think so. Okay, well, everyone voted. I think he's on another issue. Okay, so all in favor, and you'll verify with Councillor Sabag. Now we're moving on to the next item, which is item number G, Councillor Kajowski. Councillor Kajowski, item G, hiring of the attendant. On-call reception and mission.
Muted? No, I'm on, right?
You're on. You're on the air.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council ratifies the hiring of Vesela Velichkova, as an on-call reception, admission, and shop attendant, white-collar auxiliary position, effective August 3rd, 2021. That treasurer certificate number 21-0120, dated September 2nd, 2021, has been issued by the city treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Kajowski, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion?
Again, it's self-explanatory, and welcome to Vesela.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move on to the next item, H, which is Councillor Ben-Isri, H and I.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves termination of employment of blue-collar employee number 3392, effective August 10, 2021.
Moved by Councillor Ben-Isri, seconded by Councillor Burku. All in favor? Because it's HR. All in favor? Councillor Cohen? Carried unanimously. And now we move to the next one, which is I. Councillor Ben-Isri, another termination.
Sorry. My page. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the termination of employment of a blue-collar employee number 3395 effective August 12, 2021.
Moved by Councillor Benizri, seconded by Councillor Berku. All in favor? So it is carried. Councillor Sabag? Okay, carried unanimously. And we move to the next item, which is legal services city clerk. 7A, Councillor Erdely. Appointment of Councillor Dita Berku as the mayor suppléant of the city of Côte Saint-Luc.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that Councillor Dita Berku is and shall be named mayor suppléante of the city of Côte Saint-Luc effective October 1st, 2021, up to and until December 31st, 2021 inclusively, or the end of her mandate, and further that the aforementioned Councillor Berku shall have and may exercise the powers of the mayor when said mayor is absent or unable to perform the duties of his office.
Thank you, Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Cohen. And everybody's in favor. They're just voting right away. They all wanted to second it. So all in favor. Carried unanimously. Congratulations, Councillor Berku. Just to remind everybody, this is a temporary appointment for 3 months maximum, assuming that Councillor Berku is re-elected. We wish you the best of luck. And I'm not going anywhere during that time, but we'll be very happy to be able to rely on Councillor Berku if I ever have to not be available. So thank you. 7B, Councillor Berku.
Oh, me? Okay. Be it resolved, oh, I'm muted. Oh, no, I'm not. Be it resolved that councillors, wait a minute. I have a problem here. Which schedule. Yeah, okay, I got it. Sorry. Be it resolved that council hereby is authorized to hold its regular monthly sittings for the calendar year 2022 as set up in the sitting schedule annexed herewith as Annex A to form an integral part of the minutes. And the dates are all posted on site. I don't think I need to read them all. The one council meeting per month throughout 2020.
And as per the law, public notice will also follow, and the dates will be published in the Suburban as well as on our website.
Moved by
It's the first Monday of the month.
Second Monday.
Well, it says here the first, so okay, on the second Monday of the month. Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise indicated. Okay.
If you come to the first one, you won't see anybody.
No.
Okay, I'm joking. Okay, so that is moved by Councillor Berku. Moved and seconded, all in favor. Very good. So we have our meeting set. Carried unanimously. Now we go move to item number 8, Parks and Recreation, Councillor Kajowski.
You, Mr. Mayor. All right, give me 1 sec. Be it resolved that bylaw entitled Bylaw 2576, creating the fee schedule for cultural, sports, and leisure activities for fall of 2021 and winter of 2022 be and is hereby adopted, and number 2576.
Moved by Councillor Kajowski, seconded by Councillor Benizri. Any discussion?
Not required. It's again self-explanatory.
All in favor? Carried unanimously. So that's the fee schedule for Parks and Recreation programs. Okay, now we go on to Purchasing and Legal Counsel. 9A, Councillor Erdely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby approves entering into a new agreement with ARPE, the Association pour le recyclage des produits électroniques du Québec, for the ongoing collection and recycling of electronic waste, that the City Council furthermore hereby authorizes General Counsel Andrea Sharon to sign that agreement on behalf of the city.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Kajowski. Any discussion?
So just to give some background, so this is an agreement the city has with the Association pour le recyclage des produits électroniques, which is actually it's a Quebec organization, but affiliated with a national organization that does this across Canada. And what they do is they take electronic waste from residents, from citizens across the country. Just looking at some numbers in terms of Côte Saint-Luc, they collect about 30 tons a year. But if we look across, let's say across the province of Quebec, for example, they take about 16,000, almost 17,000 tons of electronic waste per year. It works out to about 2 kilograms per resident, per citizen across the province. Some of it, from what I understand, is reused or repurposed. Most of it is recycled. The elements are used to make new computers, new devices, and so on. There are approximately 69 elements that are in many of the electronic devices we use. Many of them are valuable. Many of them can be reused. Many of them are actually quite rare, so it serves a purpose. I know Councillor Burku will speak in a moment, but I'll say, look, the goal of the program is to recycle old devices. I know myself, we do our best to reuse and repurpose as much as we can. And the hope is to partner with organizations as well. But the reality with 30 tons of waste a year, so we're talking about 30,000 kilos, it's about, almost a kilo per person, roughly a kilo per person in Côte Saint-Luc. It's a lot of waste, and the goal is for it to be recycled rather than end up in landfill. But I'll let some of my fellow councillors speak as well. Thank you.
Okay. So that's been moved by Councillor Erdley and seconded by Councillor Kajashki. So now we're discussion. Councillor Burku, go next, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So I'm going to attempt to make my point again. I know we had the discussion in committee, and I don't think that my colleagues have had the benefit of understanding the issue as well as I have had over the past 6 months, because I've been trying since January of 2021 at the request of a nonprofit organization in our community, which is called Darth Faith. I forget how to say it. Just a minute, I'll tell you.
Dara Faith. The Dara Faith Project.
Okay, Dara Faith Project, to convince our city, our staff, to help them collect laptops, tablets, cell phones, in order to refurbish them and to provide computer equipment to people in need, right? Now, we've all gone online over the past 18 months, but there are a lot of people out there who do not have access to electronic computers and tablets and cell phones. And the Dara Faith Retrofit Project, through its principal person, Jason Stadlander, is wanting to collect this type of equipment in order to refurbish it, repurpose it, and return it to the community. Now, the issue we have in Côte Saint-Luc is that by signing this contract, the way it is drafted, and I will highlight it at this point, in paragraph 3.4, the partner, that's us, s'engage à remettre à l'ARC Québec la totalité des PE visés par le programme. I'm reading from page 263. La totalité des PE visés par le programme qui sont apportés à son ou ses points de dépôt visés par cette entente ou recueillis lors de la collecte. Le partenaire s'engage à faire la nécessaire afin de minimiser, etc., à moins qu'il y ait une entente. Now, what I'm trying to communicate, and I wasn't successful doing it in committee, but maybe I'll be able to now in council, is that I wanted to defer this item for 1 month because I was taken by surprise. Been discussing this since January, February, March, April, May, June, July. No one told me that this was coming up on the agenda, just popped up on the agenda. And I would like the city to negotiate an agreement with the ARP that there is a certain portion of this collected material, which is reusable, recyclable, and which will be the responsibility of the Dara Faith project to return it and refurbish it and allow it to go into the community. And I don't want to be bound by a contract which stipulates in 3.4 that whatever equipment that the city collects has to go to the ARPE. I know it can be negotiated. I've asked for a 1 week reprieve, a 2 week reprieve, a reprieve until October 4th, just to give us a chance to figure out how to do this. And that's what I'm asking my colleagues. And I owe it to David Lisbona, who's been after me since January to see if the city could collaborate in any small way with this Dara Faith project. And if you go ahead and approve the contract the way it is, that's not going to happen. Okay, so I am asking you again to defer this item till October 4th.
Okay, all right. That was extremely well presented, and I personally do support the motion. It's a motion before council to defer the item. So before we proceed further, do I have anybody to second the motion to defer? So we have Councillor Sabag who gives a motion to defer. All in favor of deferral? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the motion is deferred. Thank you, Councillor Burku. This item is deferred till October 4th.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on
Thank
to the
you,
next-
thank you, thank you. And we'll see. And if we can't work it out, we'll sign it the way it is. That's all. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Thank you very much. So
Well,
now
I
we
don't
move
know how-
on.
I don't know
to-
what it is, expression.
So now we move on to the next item, 9B, Councillor Sabag. You're on mute.
You're on mute, Councillor Sabag.
Sorry, guys.
Thank
That
you.
the City of Côte Saint-Luc hereby awards a hosted telephony contract to Bell Canada starting April 1st, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021 for the monthly amount of $4,757 for a total amount of $85,626 plus applicable taxes. That the Treasurer Certificate number 20-0077 dated July 7th, 2020.
Sorry,
has
point of order. I think Councillor Sabag is reading the previous motion that was adopted.
I think you.
It's on it's page 273. I think you're reading the previous motion.
Sorry, you're right. I'm not going to read the whereas because, well, maybe I should. Whereas on July 13, 2020, by resolution number 200706, the City of Côte Saint-Luc Council awarded a contract to Bell Canada for telephony service starting April 1st, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021. Whereas the correct term of the contract is July 20th, 2020 to January 19th, 2022. Whereas said resolution must be amended to correct the term of the contract. And so be it resolved that the City of Côte Saint-Luc hereby amends resolution number 200706 as follows. The term of the contract is July 20th, 2020, January 19th to January 19th, 2022, instead of April 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021. I hope I did that right.
You did. So moved by Councillor Sabag, seconded by Councillor Cohen. Any discussion? All in favor of the phones? We got the system going. All in favor, carried unanimously, and we'll have good, hopefully, phones throughout the city and for our dispatch. All right, so now we move to the next item, which is number 10, urban development. 10A, Councillor Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to read the whereas. This is the awarding of a contract for the restoration of grass on the vacant lot number 560-759, situated on Marc Chagall Avenue, across from the Marquise, next to Les Cours Marc Chagall. Whereas the City of Côte Saint-Luc wishes to award a contract for the restoration of grass on vacant lot number 560-759, situated on Marc Chagall Avenue, Whereas the city requested quotes and negotiated with 3 suppliers who provide this type of service. Whereas as per Article 12.1 of the city's bylaw concerning contract management, the city is allowed to award a contract by mutual agreement for an amount between $25,000 and $100,000 if it is in the best interest of the city criteria. I so move that the city of Côte Saint-Luc hereby awards a contract to Construction Morival Limité for the restoration of grass on the vacant lot, number lot 1560759, situated on Marc Chagall Avenue, for a total amount of $34,320, plus applicable taxes at Treasurer Certificate number 210116, dated September 2nd, 2021, has been issued by the city treasurer, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen. This is try number 2. We're going to get it right. This is wonderful news. Moved by Councillor Cohen and seconded by Councillor Torgman. And this is a long saga, but I'll let Councillor Cohen tell the story.
Yes, well, when the Equinox was being built, people living in all the apartment buildings, I had formed a committee of representatives of the condo boards, and they were concerned because there was all the workers. There was hundreds of workers coming, and there was nowhere for the residents to park. So we needed a solution, and thanks to engineering, public works, and our whole team, we were able to make a deal that the lot would be rented, this empty lot that belongs to the city. And it was hard to look at for people living in the apartment buildings. It was ugly to look at. The people living in the townhouse condos were robbed of kind of a pseudo park they had next door. And that lasted for 3 years. So the deal was that when the work was done and when the Equinox was built, finalized, that the Jadco, the company, would be responsible for restoring the land to its previous condition. Well, to make the long story very short, they tried unsuccessfully multiple times, and in the summer the city took over, and the end result is what you see tonight. And we will have hopefully the end result will be positive. We are now overseeing the work. The problem was when Jadco was doing the work, if there was a problem, we couldn't water the grass, we couldn't go and send someone to go fix it. So now it'll be our responsibility. The weather is perfect for the work to begin sometime late September, early October, and the goal would be to have that land so when the spring arrives, it'll be as good as new when we get back. I would like to compliment Public Works and thank them very much for maintaining the land this summer, cutting the grass, and as someone told me, it's good from far, but far from good. So
right, but we're going to make it perfect. That was the whole goal. And I know I went with Councillor Cohen to the site with a lot of members of our staff from engineering, public works, everybody.
We had an army there, Mr. Mayor.
Right, but and it's going to be hopefully one of the most beautiful, groomed, perfect green spaces of grass. That's the objective. And yes. Councillor Cohen's very, very diligent in making sure that's going to be perfect. Okay, so it was moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Torchman. Yes.
I wanted to add a thank you to the Urban Planning Department for ensuring that the full cost is covered by the contractor.
Yes, Councillor Torchman, thank you for reminding me. You know, I try to remember everyone. There were so many people involved. Andrea Sharon, our one of our legal counsels, was unbelievable. Of course, our city manager, Jonathan Schechter, the closer. I call him the closer. He stepped in. Charles Senecal, Dalia Mohammed, Nadia DeFuria, John Montero, Tanya Abramovich, who's very involved with urban planning. We really had an army there. Not only that, those days that we inspected it, but the weeks that we put into this, and it's all going to work out in the end. But it shows how it was a team effort, because we weren't going to accept something that wasn't 100%. It looks nice, but we want it back. If a deal's a deal, right? So as Howie Mandel would say, let's make a deal.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen. I mean, that just repeats what we said.
Deal or no deal, I should say.
That we said at the top of the meeting, that we are the elected officials, that you see our faces, but the people that are making sure that we get what we want done are our staff, and they're amazing. So thank you for that. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? It is carried unanimously, and thank you, Councillor Cohen, and particularly for that great team of staff that is making this possible at no cost to the city. So that's wonderful news. The next item is item number 11.2, number A, 5573 Borden. Councilor Burku.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. As usual, I'm going to call upon my colleague, Councillor Erdely, to post the visuals on the screen. So the first item is 5573 Borden. Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing an extension of the detached single-family dwelling on lot 1560689 at 5573 Borden and prepared by Hugo Castonguay Technologue for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting of August 17th, 2021, and revised on September 3rd, 2021, be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc. So you're seeing on the screen the facade of the new construction. It's an extension. It's going to be a second story added to this split level. And it did go through many iterations. And thanks to the PAC and the recommendations from all the architects, we have the resulting product, which we think is going to complement the houses in the neighborhood and certainly the one next door that has set the tone for the whole street. So that's 5573 Borden.
Thank you. Right across the street from where I grew up. My mom still lives there, so it better be perfect. Okay, some of my mom's going to be watching. Moved by Councillor Burku and seconded by? Was it seconded yet? Councillor Torjman, all in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move on to the next item.
Okay.
Councillor Burku.
Bon, alors 56-11 sur Winston Churchill. Il est résolu que le plan d'implantation et d'intégration architecturale montrant un agrandissement de l'habitation unifamiliale isolée sur le lot 156-1583 au 56-11 sur Winston Churchill est préparé par Ariel Aaron Architect Inc. pour la réunion du comité consultatif d'urbanisme du 17 août 2021 soit approuvé conformément aux dispositions du chapitre 14 du règlement 2217 de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc. So this is the what you see here, the perspective, and it's basically the facade is being redone. So it's in accordance with all our architectural opinions. The front, the exempt, and then later we're going to have an exemption for the front setback. But in the meantime, it's just to approve the perspective and the materials on the front.
So it's been moved by Councillor Burku and seconded by Councillor Ben Israel. All in favor? Carried unanimously, and we move to the next item, Councillor Burku.
Okay, so this is Newton. I think finally we're getting it right. Okay, so that the site planning and be it resolved, site planning and architectural integration program showing an extension of the front facade of the existing detached single-family dwelling on lot 156-1410 at 6799 Newton and prepared by Leora Laluz, architectural designer for the Planning Advisory Committee of August 17, 2021 and revised on September 3rd, 2021. Be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by, this is Newton.
Right.
Councillor,
so this is a modification of the facade, but a real total modification. Originally, the facade had a vertical language with different peaks on the roof, and now it's gone the opposite way. It's more horizontal, and they've added also a balcony on the top of the front entrance. They've enlarged the hallway, the vestibule in the front, and I think after much discussion and recommendations, this new facade is finally quite interesting, and it was, presented to be approved by the council.
Moved by Councillor Berku and seconded by Councillor Early. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to Mather. 8125 Mather. Councillor Berku.
Okay, Mather, where's Mather? Just a second. I don't have Mather in that order.
I think it's 5845 Shalom next.
Yeah, I think we're leaving the site plans now and we're entering the minor exemptions.
Right.
Okay, right. Okay, go.
So I think we're at Shalom. We're at Shalom
Go
now.
to Shalom and then we'll get to the other ones again. Exactly.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Right,
So
yes.
now we're at Shalom. We're on page 349. So it's a minor exemption. That in accordance, be it resolved in accordance with the provisions of bylaw G18-0005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located 5845 Shalom, lot 152071, be and is hereby approved. The whole is more aptly delineated hereunder. The request is to allow a rear fence with a maximum height of 6 feet 8 inches instead of the maximum permitted height of 6 feet. The whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw 2217 Article 8-3. So this is a fence which is adjacent to Ruth Kovac Park, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so it was felt that there's no real prejudice, there's no neighbors to be offended or inconvenienced, and so the fence is allowed for that reason only. Okay, it's not to be taken as a precedent in every case, but because it's next to the park and there are no adjoining properties, then they're allowed to put up the fence to 6.8 feet.
Thank you, Councillor Berku, seconded by Councillor Georgeman. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now the next item. Now we go back. Now we go to Mackle, Cambridge Court.
Okay, Cambridge Court. Okay, this is an interesting one. So there's a lot of numbers here I have to read, so I'll read them. Be it resolved in accordance with the provisions of bylaw G18-0005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 6548 6572 Mackle, lot 1560873. Be and is hereby approved. The whole is more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow the construction of a balcony with an encroachment of 12 feet into the minimum rear setback instead of the maximum encroachment permitted of 10 feet. This encroachment is applicable for the following 13 adjacent lots. And now I'm going to read all the lot numbers. 2228, 352, no, 325, 2228, 326, 2228, 327, and the sequence continues, 2228, 328, 329, 330, 331, 332, 333, 334, 335, 336, and 337. So these are all balconies which are in a complex that is in row attached housing. The request for this minor exemption was discussed at the Planning Advisory Committee meeting on July 13th. The members of the council approved the granting. It should be noted this minor exemption. No, those are the notes. Okay, so the whole, notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw 2217, Article 4-2-2, Table 1, and Article 4-4-3. Sorry. Okay.
Moved by Councillor Berku, seconded by. Who would like to second it? You're all welcome. Councillor Kujawski.
So this is a minor exemption. I think you can go to page 364 to have a better understanding of what we're talking about, Councillor Lee. So this is a minor exemption for 7 existing balconies and 6 proposed balconies to be built with a 12-foot encroachment into the minimum required rear setback instead of the 10-foot encroachment. And there were some issues there due to the supply shortages, and instead of getting 10-foot planks, they got 12-foot planks. But ultimately, we felt that it is reasonable to grant this minor exemption. And so the balconies will all be aligned with the ones that are already built. And you see it there on the screen. And probably we'll have to give another minor exemption for the next phase of the project.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by. We did that already? No, you already, yeah, already did it. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to Sir Winston Churchill again.
Right. So Sir Winston Churchill, it's for a minor exemption. In accordance with the provisions of bylaw G 18-005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located 5611 Sir Winston Churchill being is hereby approved. The whole is more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow the construction of a two-story extension for an existing detached single-family dwelling with a front setback of 5.57 meters instead of the minimum required front setback of 6.09 meters. So it's minor difference. And the whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw 2217 Annex B, Zone RU 33 and Article 4-4-1. So it's just a little too close to the sidewalk.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Ben-Isri. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move back to Newton.
Newton again. Okay, so Newton also needs a minor exemption. So we'll go back to Newton. Well, I could do this one in French. Oh, wait. Oh, I made a mistake. Where I am now. Sorry, apologize. Il est proposé que, conformément aux dispositions du règlement J 18-0005, qu'une demande de dérogation mineure concernant une propriété localisée au 6799 Newton, lot 156-1410, soit et par les présentes approuvées, de tout tel que plus amplement décrit ci-dessous. La demande vise à permettre la construction d'un agrandissement sur la façade avant d'une habitation unifamiliale isolée avec une marge avant de 5,18 mètres au lieu de la marge avant minimale requise de 6,09 mètres. Le tout nonobstant les dispositions du règlement de zonage numéro 2217, annexe B et article 4-4-1.
Proposé par le conseiller Burku et appuyé par. Who'd like to second it? Councillor Erdeling. All in favor? Carried unanimously for the minor exemption. And now we move to Mather.
Mather, okay.
Mather.
This is a building, this is a project that was approved before by previous, at a previous council meeting, but now we didn't, I don't know if we forgot or we neglected to give them the minor exemption. So urban planning minor exemption, Mather. That be it resolved in accordance with the provisions of bylaw G 18-0005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located 8125 Mather, lot 3620614, being is hereby approved, the whole is more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow for the construction of the following for a new semi-detached single-family dwelling, a rear balcony to be built at 0 feet from the common landline instead of the minimum distance of 2 feet from the common landline, and the space under said balcony to be used as a basement room built at 0 feet from the edge of the balcony instead of the minimum distance of 1 foot from the edge of the balcony. The whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw number 2217, article 4-3, article 4-4-2, article 4-4-3, and article 4-4-5. So I think this needs a little bit of an explanation.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Kajowski.
Okay, so this project was approved by council, by this council in May 2019. And the owner who owns the land, he owns the house and also a very large lot that's attached to that house. he wants to proceed with plans to build another house right next to his house. So there is an issue of proximity, but since it's the same owner, they're basically building it almost, I won't say attached, but it is pretty much going to be attached to the existing house. That's why there's the derogation that it doesn't have to have the 2 feet minimum distance between the two houses. Because on his adjoining lot, and I think practically attaching it to his existing house. Yes.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. And now we move. That's it.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good. So now we move on to this item number 12, Councillor Sabag.
I think we have.
Right, yeah. An add-on, 11.2.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
We have to mention 11.2.
Right, I forgot. Yeah.
11.2.
Okay. So we are going, because it was posted in the newspaper.
Correct.
Right. So there was a notice given in the newspaper that there would be a minor exemption for the property on Westminster for the parking spaces. We would give them a minor exemption for the parking spaces, but there was some information missing. So the item did not make it to the agenda ultimately because the property owner did not provide all the required documents. So we're adding it to the agenda, but we are deferring it to a subsequent meeting, which would be either October or November. Most likely November, yes.
To allow for the notice of publication.
There will be a new notice of publication
in
the newspaper next week, yes.
Very good.
So it's deferred.
It's deferred? No vote needed?
No, just for the purpose of the record, if we can state the address, just so that we can note it.
Can you do that for me, please, Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
I believe it's 5475.
Yes, 5475.
Westminster.
Westminster. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make a mistake with the number.
Okay, so now we move to Councillor Sabag, item number 12.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. D'établir l'orientation du conseil en vue des séances du conseil d'agglomération qui pourraient être tenues en octobre 2021, comme suit. Autoriser le maire et son représentant dûment autorisé à prendre toute décision qu'il jugera appropriée sur les dossiers inscrits à l'ordre du jour des séances du conseil d'agglomération devant se tenir en octobre 2021 en fonction de l'information présentée lors de cette réunion et ce, dans le meilleur intérêt de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc et ses résidents.
Proposé pour le conseiller Sabag et appuyé par, comme vous voulez, le conseiller Torchman. Tout le monde en faveur? C'est unanimement. Et maintenant, on va aller au other, oh no, there is no other business, right? That's been deferred. So now we just have second question period. There's nothing else. Do we have any questions? Maître Prévost.
We don't have any question at this time. If
How
residents want to submit one, just please refresh the page, but we do not have any right now.
Okay, so we'll wait a couple of minutes. In the meantime, I'd just like to say, in continuation of what we've been speaking about throughout this meeting and the excellence of our staff, a series on how our staff handled the pandemic is coming out through Parks and Recreation. And I saw a little bit of the first episode and I was quite impressed to hear how the staff felt about the whole thing. So that's a Parks and Recreation initiative that should be very interesting. And that will be coming up soon. I don't know if anybody else has any other announcements to make while we wait for more questions. Councillor Italy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. One more point I forgot to mention earlier. I wanted to say a special thank you to the different departments that reacted very quickly to the gas leak on Côte Saint-Luc Road last week, to public security, public works, engineering, urban planning, city management, communication, everyone coordinating with the fire department with Gazmet or Energier, the police. It was quite an operation. I'm happy that, thankfully no one was hurt and it was resolved very quickly. But, I want to say thank you to all the different departments who reacted quickly and helped to make sure all our residents once again are safe. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other announcements to make before we close if we don't have questions? No? Okay. So wish everybody a very happy rest of the evening. Enjoy the good weather that's coming forward over the next 2 weeks. It's supposed to be hot once again. So enjoy our late extended summer. And for those who are celebrating the holidays, enjoy each one. Have a good fast for Yom Kippur and enjoy the holidays coming ahead until we meet again on October the 4th. October the 4th. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Do we want to have a resolution to?
Oh, okay, meeting a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Kajavsky, seconded by Councillor, whoever would like to adjourn. Councillor Ben Israel, all in favor. We are adjourned. Thank you all. Okay.